Hello, Space Apes. My name's Hanley. Thank you very much for watching my channel. Today, I'm going to talk about the concept of doing work. So, I hear this often in therapy, in activism, all sorts of different realms, saying that it's necessary to do the work. And I've been thinking, what exactly does this mean? What is doing the work? So I've been thinking about it a lot, and I wanted to start this video with kind of a physics definition of work. I think is informative because words from different realms can often inform the other subject. So in physics, you imagine there's these systems, and about anything can be a system. So the entire Earth can be a system, a single electron can be a system, and anything in between. So it's all about how the system is defined. I'll give you a really simple example. If you have a teapot that's full of water, the teapot is the system. Okay? And what work is applying an external force, in this case to the teapot. So you take the teapot, you put it on the stove, you turn on the flame. You're applying an external force, the flame, to the teapot. So the flame turns on and heats the teapot. So the flame is doing work on the teapot. Another example would be a pile of dirt. The pile of dirt is the system, and a human with a shovel can do work on the pile of dirt. And in both the teapot and the pile of dirt, what happens is the system is changed in some way by the external force acting on it. Another aspect of this that's important is that not only does the system change, but it also changes the things around it. The teapot, as it's heating, say some steam comes off of it, some heat comes off of it, it affects the systems that are in its proximity. With the dirt example, the dirt now goes somewhere else, and it changes the systems that are around it. So not only, or let me rephrase that, there's three kind of steps in this process. External force, changing of the system, affecting the other systems around it. And that is work. I believe that in the psychological, therapeutic sense of a person says, I need to work on some of my issues, I need to work on my anger, that we can apply kind of the same model. And I feel like there is just so much to be said on this topic, and I will assuredly miss some of it. But I'm briefly going to look at how I apply this concept to doing work on myself, and I'll give you a few different techniques that I use. So if I look at my own body as my system, and we'll just keep it there. for a long time, scientists believe that all of our consciousness is held in our brains, and we're now understanding that that's not totally true. The brain is a really important piece of consciousness. So scientists believe that because we could take an EEG or an MRI and look at a brain, and if the human was thinking something, it would show up in the brain, and if you damage that part of the brain, the human could no longer think that. So people assumed that, oh, this is where the thinking is completely happening. But now we're starting to understand this is actually just one part of the whole process in the loop. So it's a really brand new emerging science, but it's quite probable and possible that a lot of the emotions and thoughts that we have are actually stored and originated in other parts of our body. And one aspect of the experience is happening in the cortex. And we kind of intuitively know this if you look at some of our language. People feel anxiety in their gut, or they have a gut instinct about something, or someone can have a broken heart and it feels like your heart is actually breaking, or you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. These are all aspects of this mind-body synergy. So one way that we can do work is getting quiet and present with where a thought, emotion, attitude, concept, cognition is sitting in our body. Where is it originating? So I'll look into my own body right now. And I'm feeling some anxiety that's centered right here in my head. Okay, so I'm not looking at like, oh, it's happening in my brain. I'm saying that this part of my head, my body, is where I'm experiencing anxiety. So now I kind of sense into this energetic field right here, and this becomes the system that I'm going to do work on. And I believe that I can take a highly active approach or an intentionally passive approach. I think in our society it's really common for people to kind of ignore and compartmentalize, and we have a ton of ways to do that. Drinking, food, screens, drama, lots of distractions that make it so I don't have to necessarily pay attention to this anxiety. It becomes this all-encompassing feeling. It's undeterminate. It's indistinguishable from the rest of my conscious reality. And I think that as these issues are ignored, they start to ingrain deeper and deeper down into our marrow and into the metaphysical layers of our being. And part of our healing path is to allow them to rise back up and transmute back into the universal fabric. So with this patch system of anxiety that I'm feeling in this field right here, the passive approach, it's intentionally passive, is to get really quiet and just open that field. I'm opening that field, and I'm allowing that sensation to dissipate into the air. And already I feel more calm and peace. So now I feel like the field is smaller. Some of that has evaporated. Now I'll take 2 different types of intentional approaches. One intentional approach is to become present with the field, the root of the emotion, the sensation, and infuse it with loving kindness. It's just witnessing and sitting with the sensation with loving kindness. So, I'm taking a breath, and I feel like my loving kindness, compassion, a lot of it comes from my heart. So I'm just connecting the compassion that's coming from my heart into this field, creating a channel. One thing about work is it takes time. It can take microseconds, it can take lifetimes. So be patient and compassionate with yourself on this journey. What I'm going for is progress. In the infinity of time, there's a direction, so I can find some progress. And just through those 2 exercises, I feel like this field has really dissipated. So for my 3rd example, I'll look for another sensation in my body. The thing about this is that there's not an end to this work. That's what I've been told. This is a teaching that I've heard from others that I believe, but have not 100% directly witnessed myself. And the teaching is that essentially by doing this work and clearing ourselves and giving ourselves more energy, we've peeled a layer off and there's another layer. So there's not an end to the work. But if we stop doing the work, we're going to suffer. So it's really a motion. It's not a destination. And that sounds trite, but it's true to me. So for this last one, I'm going to be utilizing my digestive system, and that's literally in my digestive tract and also that metaphysical field of my digestion. It's where I can incinerate my food, my emotions, and it's not a stuffing and it's not an ignoring, but it's a consumption and it's a burning of them. So it's a purification through flame. So this is a really active technique. I'm a generally anxious person. Kind of anxiety is one of my dominating themes. And right now I'm feeling some anxiety right here in my solar plexus. It feels like a tightness, like a fluttering tightness. It's good to name these things. So in this, again, we become really quiet. And I'm going to encircle and trap this sensation. I'm going to move it down into my digestive tract where I'm going to consume it. All three of these techniques involve different types of breath work. And as you can see, there's different qualities to the breath work. The breath lies at one of the very base seats of consciousness and the human experience. The breath exists before anything else. Well, I'm not going to say anything before most other things can exist. We can go for days without water, weeks without food, but only minutes without breath. So, thank you so much if you've gotten this far. I really appreciate you watching the video. Put any comments that you have down below or on my Facebook, where I've been cross-posting these. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you like more videos. And if you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. Alright, Space Apes. Y'all have a really nice day. Peace.